Red Dead Redemption 2 is a detailed game, but is it as detailed as people are really making it out to be? Let's take a closer look. I just did a mission in a graveyard where you have to take out a lot of enemies, and then the law comes, and then you have to sneak out of the graveyard undiscovered. Well, I went back into the graveyard because I needed to loot some more enemies, and I went back in there just moments after it was infested with the law, and all of them had disappeared. Another mission here just kind of wrapped up. Dutch was saying something, and Lenny as well, and then they rode off, and I decided to follow them in their wagon, and as soon as it turned the corner, Dutch and the wagon disappeared. Lenny was just kind of standing there. Really weird. Another thing that I thought could have been fleshed out a tad bit more is sort of these incomplete scenes. You know how they're building a building in this game or building some railroad tracks. It's a cool idea on paper, but the execution just isn't quite there, and I'll explain it real quick. The progression of these things being completed, it's tethered to the story, anchored on your progression throughout the story. For example, this building here in Valentine, it only gets completed when you complete the game. I mean, you could wait here day in and day out, and this is just an illusion. Rockstar has done a great job at trying to sell you the idea that this is truly a living, breathing world, and I guess in some cases it is, but as far as this building being built or those railroad tracks being built, it's all just for show. And that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. It's really cool to see this stuff kind of implemented. However, it would have been really freaking kick-ass if it were based on real-time progression as opposed to, hey, this is how far you are in this chapter. You know what I mean? I did another mission where I collected debt. And after I did that mission, the game replaced the non-playable story character with a generic NPC rancher. In fact, when I first showed up to do this mission, there were no cows anywhere to be found. After I completed the mission, there were cows and a generic NPC rancher. So it seems like when you do a mission and when that story character is occupying a space in the game, after that mission is over, it will substitute that story NPC character for a generic NPC character. Kind of interesting, but it's a little silly at the same time. Anyway, what I decided to do after that is I took the rancher out because I just got annoyed by that. And then I decided to follow this story character, this minor story NPC character, to see if he had a destination. You know, because this is a game that was built from the ground up on current hardware. Gotta have a destination, right? So I followed him for about 40 minutes of in real life time, which was ridiculous. But I wanted to see. I was curious. And ultimately he gets stuck. There's a tree that's fallen down. He gets stuck in his pathing and his scripting. I don't think he ever had a destination. I think it was one of those moments where it's like, okay, Rockstar is trying to get this player out of view so that then he can disappear. Unfortunately, that never happened. At least until I left the scene and then came back and he was gone. So look, don't get me wrong, the game is incredibly detailed. Rockstar has done a great job here with this game. However, some of this stuff I think could have been fleshed out just a tad bit more. Look, I'm not saying the game is bad or anything. I'm just saying that I think some people are kind of exaggerating on some of the details here in Red Dead Redemption 2. Honestly, I was more surprised by the lack of details as opposed to the details that were found here in Red Dead Redemption 2. It seems like everyone kind of forgot about previous Rockstar games and thought, well, this is all new. And it's like, well, wait a minute, this was here in the original Red Dead Redemption way back in 2010. You know, NPCs were on a schedule in that game. It's like, you gotta go back and play those old games before you claim that this is like, holy shit, this is so new. It's like, I'm playing this and I'm like, I'm not surprised. This is very typical of Rockstar. There's nothing really groundbreaking here. I'm not saying that there's nothing new here. It's just, we've seen this before. And a lot of the things that I showed you here today really took me out of the experience. It killed my immersion. And that's one thing that they really push hard here in this game, is that you're so immersed into this world, and then when you see things that I just showed you, it's like, oh, you're reminded that you're playing a video game.
So,